Namaste everyone!
Tataya is here to tell us more about Jeja Tataya today.
Jeja Tataya is Sadguru Shivananda Murti Garu.
Good. So, in our previous episode, we started mentioning about the Puranas. How Puranas have come to us, through whom. There we remember sage Parashurama. Sage Parashurama did penance, very serious penance, to ask Shiva, the Lord Shiva, who is Jnana himself. So he wanted to ask Lord Shiva, pray him, to give him the knowledge of the history of the universe. But it was so vast a subject. We had some discussion yesterday. It was so vast a subject. I think of which the universe and its beginning cannot be radically counted in the years. Some lakhs of light years might have passed on by this time. So Shiva said, it is very difficult to get the history of the entire world, which you may not be able to bear in your mind. It's so vast that your brain, the space generally we call as the space in the chips and all that, 5G, 10G, 100G like that, or gigabytes or tetrabytes. So even that is not sufficient to hold the history. History was such. So he has given him Vishnu Purana, about Vishnu. Because generally the whole universe starts with Vishnu. He is the one who is full of universe, and then he has been pervading the entire universe. And only from him the Brahma came and the whole creation has come. So he has given this knowledge to Parashara, and Parashara has now took this Vishnu Purana, and he wanted, because by the time he was only interested in getting the Purana, and he had no time to propagate all these things. He was not very much interested. So he gave this Vishnu Purana to his son. Generally fathers give their properties and everything to their sons. It's natural, isn't it? So similarly, he has given this to Vyasa, who was his son. And then he left for further penance. So Vyasa has taken this Vishnu Purana. This is the main, the central knowledge of the Puranas. So he has taken this Vishnu Purana, and then he has again classified this Vishnu Purana into 18 parts. 18 parts. And after that also many Upa-Puranas have come from each Purana. So these things have been added to the Purana. So generally the modern intellectuals would start questioning the validity of Puranas. And they consider this as myths, because the episodes which are there in the Puranas cannot be thought of experience of the human beings. So it was something beyond human comprehension. So they simply said that it's a fiction. Fiction and concocted and interpolated, so many things they question. But one thing we should not forget, that this Purana is given directly by Shiva. Shiva is none but Jnana himself. So that has come from jnana. So as we consider Vedas are from the jnana, from the knowledge. So also Purana, Vishnu Purana also came from Shiva directly, to whom is not an ordinary human being, his sage Parashara. So regarding the authenticity, there should not be any question for anybody. So then what happened, these 18 Puranas have been made out of one Purana, and wherein he has given these 18 Puranas a theme, something like Vayu Purana, something like Padma Purana. So these Puranas, 18 Puranas have come into being. But Guruji says that, out of all these things, Vishnu Purana has to be taken as the main Purana, and the other are allied Puranas. But they do not differ with the main context, but the episodes may be different. Taking the theme of Amavaru, Devi Purana, and Padma Purana, Agni Purana. So in one Purana, according to the name, that concept would be dominating in that. So the discussion about that would be more. So it's named as Padma Purana, or Agni Purana, Vayu Purana. So these 18 Puranas later have developed Upa Puranas. So yesterday also we had some examples about the legends of the Puranas. And we have seen that what we study there, what we read there, what we know from Puranas, Guruji says no, there is nothing like unreal in it. There is nothing like a fiction there. And he also further said that in Bharat there was no place for fiction till the British came. That's wonderful thing. Till British came, there was no fiction. As now we have science fiction, this fiction, that fiction. And many films are also coming based on some fictional story. And we are also seeing some historical TV shows and all that, but there is no history in it. Again, they take some family story and then mix it up, give that name. So this is not known for Bharatiyas. So then there is a question, because we have kavyas, stories like, and these kavyas there is a lot of description. All the descriptions and all these things, have been made to attract the reader. It's only to attract the reader. Similarly, in Puranas also, it is shown, some miracles have been shown in it. But those miracles, as we said, we have to decode them, we have to understand them. So these miracles, they are not fiction in the sense. Guruji says it is said only to give emphasis to that point. So in our earlier literature, till almost the British came, earlier literature was only based on facts. Only facts. They are not unreal, they are happening. May not be the same amount of the same expression of the Puranas, but the fact has been done. With regard, then we have seen about Ravana's Vadha. Ravana was killed by Rama. Ravana was considered a Dashkantha. And in our films, they say show 10 faces to him. So this kind of things are only shown so that otherwise we don't understand whether he has 10 Vidyas with him, Dasha Vidyas are with him. How do we know? With the same face and same person. So to make it clear, they have shown Dashkantha. Dashkantha is shown with Dashamukha. So such things are there in Puranas, And he also gives one example about the periods, the regnal periods of the kings, because the Ityasa, it also speaks of Ityasa, about the kings and their dynasties and their. So this lineage is given in most of the Puranas. It's there, and these lineages also show that a particular king has ruled for so many years. Some 80 years they ruled, some 100 years, some 200 years. For Rama, they said he ruled for 10,000 years. How can he be there for 10,000 years to rule us? So this is, such things are there in Purana. Just because of that, we cannot say that it is a fiction. But Rama was there. So how is it this 10,000? How should you understand about this? So this is where we have to decode Puranas and see how reasonably understand about the facts. Because we know that Rama, after being victorious at Lanka, he came back. And then his wife has gone to the forest, Sita. And it was some 7 years or 8 years or 10 years, she had twins there, and they have grown up. And there was something like the Ashwamedha Yaga was there, which he performed. After that, when he got his twins back in his fold, Mother Sita has left. She has gone away. So Rama did not stay for long after that. So he handed over his kingdom to his sons, to his brothers and brothers' sons, distributed his kingdom, and then he went into the Sarai river. He left his body there. So that can't be 10,000 years. Maybe 60 years, or 50 years, or 80 years, not more than that. So we should understand that how can we justify these fabulous years of reign of Rama. He says, even now also we pray Rama. We want Rama's temples intact. And we still ask that we should be worshipped on the lines of Rama, Rama Rajya. We wanted Rama Rajya. So this Rama Rajya concept, as long as it continues, Rama is alive. Rama is alive. Similarly, another thing Guruji said, because there may be a number of avatars of Vishnu. Generally we take Dashavatara, 10 avatars. 10 avatars are only select avatars. It's not that Vishnu came here only 10 times. Many times, thousands, hundreds times he might have come in different forms at different times. So he says that these avatars, many have come, many have gone, but those whom we remember, as long as we remember, they are on the earth. We can pray them. Lakshminarasimha Swami is there. When was he born? When was he there? When was Hiranyakashipu was there? Those times we cannot count. But Lakshminarasimha came there to save Prahlada. And after that, he went into the forest. He disappeared. So, but still we take Lakshminarasimha and Prahlada story, we still have his temples built. We worship daily. So we are not forgetting them. Of course, our Pandits, they have composed various stotras and then mantras, all that. That will be done. That way, those avatars which are still remembered by us, they continue to be on the throne because they are in your mind. Because we have not forgotten. Because I might have told to my daughter, and she might have told to you about Prahlada story. So this is a continuous process. So it is not unless you forget it, they are lost. If you forget it, they lost. If you have not forgotten them, they are there. They are with us. Even Guruji, we say that Guruji is with us because we remember him, we do puja, and we listen to his words, we read his writings, and we hear his speeches. Though he is not there, it is as if he is there, we feel. Similarly, all the avatars, they are there. So these Puranas are valid for all times. Puranas speaking about the Godheads, so that will also continue. So there is a continuity. There is no break in this tradition. So our people give great value to the tradition and take strength from the tradition. And they do their part to continue the tradition. That's how our knowledge, our jnana and everything is still continuing. So these Puranas have to be understood in that way, in such a way, and this fiction idea is not ours. The fiction is only from the Western literature, and even in Telugu also, first fiction, the novel, which is totally a fiction, has been written by Kandapuri Veereshwaranga Pandulu in the late 19th century. So till 200 years, that's the first work of fiction. And later, so many novels have come, so many stories have been written, so many things have been done. All this is fiction. So this fiction is imported from the West, particularly English, because we were under their rule for so many years. So our poets and all these people have been fashioned in the on the Western lines, and they have continued their genres, and they have been introduced in India. Earlier, we didn't have storytelling. We have Gatha Shakti, okay, but they are not stories. They were real happenings at some place are there. It's from history, and Kavyas are there. Kavyas' main topics or subject are from either Puranas or from Itihasas. So, when we speak of Puranas, we should not get any doubt that they are myths. They are not mythological. So, this literature that we have been seeing almost from the earliest times that we don't know, so it has been continuing till Mahabharata times, and Vedavyasa, who has given us the Vedas, also has given us the Puranas. And these Puranas, when Vedavyasa has taken them for him and he composed these 18 Puranas, he wanted to give this wide publicity, because the purpose of Purana is that to acquaint the common man with the history of universe, with the knowledge source of the universe. So with this intention, the Puranas, it was a very big activity, as we say, media activity, something like that. Similarly, it was a great activity, and that has been continued by Vedavyasa, and that has gone into the common people in various art forms, various dramatic art forms or dance art forms, and also in music. All these media Puranas, not just literary works, but they have been going into the common people who are not educated in the modern sense. So they are all educated. With the Puranas, they have become very good educated. They love the culture and Dharma. They wanted them to take the path of Dharma. So that's okay for us today.
Namaste.
Namaste, everyone.
Namaste.